HOA Karen's story escalated faster than anyone expected. What began as a self-appointed neighborhood patrol ended with police lights, handcuffs, and a quiet street finally breathing again. Before we get into it, like this video, subscribe for more HOA and Karen stories, and hit the hype button so this one reaches everyone who loves real neighborhood drama. Our neighborhood looked peaceful at first glance. Clean sidewalks, identical streetlights, trimmed lawns, and a thick HOA rulebook that promised safety and order. Most people kept to themselves and followed the basics. They waved politely and avoided conflict. That balance worked until one person decided peace needed supervision. Karen lived at the corner house near the entrance. She had been part of the HOA years ago and never truly let go of the power. Even after stepping down, she acted like authority still followed her. She watched cars longer than necessary. She questioned unfamiliar faces. She kept notes. It felt less like a neighborhood and more like a watch zone. The idea of a neighborhood patrol started as gossip. Someone mentioned that Karen had been walking the streets at night with a flashlight. Another neighbor noticed her taking photos of parked cars. Then came printed flyers slipped under doors announcing a new community patrol. There was no HOA approval, no vote, no consent, just a declaration. Karen believed she was restoring order. She claimed the neighborhood needed protection from outsiders, noise, and rule breakers. In reality, she was creating fear. Residents began feeling watched. Teenagers were questioned. Guests were stared down. Dog walkers were followed. The streetlights felt brighter, but the mood felt darker. She started wearing reflective gear and carrying a radio she bought online. She stood at corners and wrote down license plate numbers. She knocked on doors late in the evening to remind people of curfews that did not exist. She treated public sidewalks like checkpoints. People complained quietly, unsure how to stop it without making things worse. The HOA board was slow to react. They assumed it would burn out. They underestimated her commitment. Karen took silence as approval and escalated. She set patrol hours, she posted schedules, she recruited no one, but she acted like she commanded a team. One night, everything tipped over. A delivery driver stopped near my house after dark. It was a routine drop-off. Karen approached immediately. She blocked the sidewalk and hovered near the vehicle. She began photographing the driver and the car. The driver looked uncomfortable and left quickly after dropping the package. Minutes later, Karen followed the car down the street. Neighbors noticed and called the police, not out of anger, but out of concern. Someone pretending to be security while confronting people in the dark was dangerous. Officers arrived quietly. They observed Karen from a distance. They watched her pace, write notes, and peer into parked cars. They watched her approach another resident who had just returned home. They intervened before things got worse. Karen tried to present herself as authorized. She waved papers and pointed to her reflective vest. She claimed community safety. She claimed implied consent. She claimed HOA backing that did not exist. The officers assessed the situation calmly. They checked records, they contacted the HOA board, they reviewed complaints already on file. Patterns emerged fast: harassment, impersonation, obstruction, trespassing, following vehicles, photographing people without cause. The patrol was not just unofficial, it was unlawful. Karen refused to stand down. She continued moving through the area despite instructions to stop. She treated police presence as a challenge rather than a boundary. That decision sealed the outcome. She was placed in custody. The neighborhood watched from porches and windows as the person who claimed to protect them was escorted to a police car. The scene was quiet, procedural, and final. There was no cheering, just relief. The police documented everything: the reflective gear, the radio, the notes, the photos, the flyers, the timeline, the repeated complaints. It painted a clear picture of someone who crossed from meddling into menace. Karen spent the night in custody. Charges related to impersonation and harassment were filed. Conditions were set that barred her from any patrol activity, official or imagined. The law drew a hard line where the HOA never did. The HOA board responded the next morning. An emergency notice went out to all residents clarifying that no neighborhood patrol existed or would exist without formal approval and coordination with authorities. The board acknowledged failures in oversight and apologized for the fear caused. The street changed almost immediately. People walked their dogs without looking over their shoulders. Guests parked without interrogation. Kids rode bikes again. Delivery drivers returned without hesitation. The air felt lighter, like a pressure valve had been released. Cameras stayed up, but they were no longer tools of intimidation. They were simply security again, a normal part of modern life. Karen returned home days later quieter than before. No vest, no flashlight, no notes. Her house stayed dark at night. She avoided common areas. The authority she imagined was gone, replaced by consequences that followed her actions. Court proceedings moved forward. The judge emphasized that safety is not self-appointed. Authority comes with training, oversight, and accountability. Anything else is a risk to everyone involved. The lesson settled in. HOA rules are not law enforcement. Concern does not justify control. Fear does not equal safety. When someone takes power without permission, it rarely ends well. If you're watching this right now, remember that safety is built through cooperation, not intimidation. And if someone tries to turn your street into their personal domain, documentation and calm action matter more than confrontation. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more HOA and Karen stories, and hit the hype button so these real neighborhood dramas keep coming, and comment below to tell us which country you're watching from.